Opening weekend has come and gone. Kyle Schassburger and David Kahn back with you. We hope you all enjoyed the South Carolina baseball podcast takeover. Boots on the ground in Winston-Salem, back on our home front. Well, I'm in High Point where I live. Kahn, you're at home in Winston-Salem, but we're here. Oh, I didn't turn the loop off. Damn you, Kahn. Sorry, we're trying to get a little more fancy this year with Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. StreamYard has this idea to just automatically loop every piece of audio that we do this season. Hopefully you enjoy the new drip, the graphics package. We got a new YouTube channel, Dugouts, Dumbbells, Dingers. No special character, but Dugouts, Dumbbells, Dingers is where you can find the show all year long. Subscribe. Tell your friends. Please do that. We're on Twitter, on X, at 3D Dingers. I'm keeping that in the show, by the way, Con. That's got to stay, right?
Absolutely. 100%. Well, first of all, before we even started the show, your computer didn't want to let you speak. So it was going to be me hosting the podcast by myself and talking to you and you hearing me, but not being able to, provide your own commentary. So we've gone through all kinds of technical things today, but we have a show. We're back, baby. 2025 college baseball season is here and it is alive.
At Kyle Shass at SportsCon4, Con even included for those watching on the video feed on YouTube, his first and last name, as if we didn't already know it. So, we are crossing our wires in plenty of ways. And I've been ready to punch David Kahn 5 times in the last couple of weeks already over this podcast, and this is just our second show. So that's when you know we're back, okay? That's when you know we're back, baby. And if our fearless leader, Stephen Hartzell, who helps head up the CSN College Sports Now podcast channel, is listening, he would be very proud to know that, we figured out the mic issue because a couple months back I filled in for him and Felder on the football show, and it took 20 minutes of our life for me to figure out this StreamYard thing. And for some reason, I was muted and in some back channel, dark interweb place of occupancy that I could not figure out without the help of David Kahn here today. So thank you. Kahn, we're going to have our crazy 8 for Omaha predictions because we haven't had an opportunity to do this yet. We had a 30-minute plus conversation with Tony Vitello back in the fall with the reigning national champion Tennessee Volunteers. If you missed that, go check it out on YouTube or slide back in the CSN podcast feed. Back to October, fall ball episode. That was tremendous. Tennessee took care of business at home this past weekend. The number 1 team in the preseason and still through one weekend is Texas A&M. We'll go over some of the notables. We'll give our predictions for Omaha after the first weekend in college baseball. Some dudes, some hat tips, some SDAs. We're not changing the show format at all. We'll have some special guests for you here throughout the year. Cadence 1 time per week until March Madness is through, David. And then we're going to tick up to twice per week. That'll be after March, after the men's college basketball and women's college basketball national championships. So looking forward to that. In the South Carolina podcast takeover, we were in Columbia last week ahead of opening day. Conversations with Paul Mederi, 40 good minutes. Ethan Petrie, Dylan Eskew, the ace, the star slugger. Will Ethan Petrie be my Golden Spikes Award winner prediction? Wait for that as well in our crazy 8 for Omaha. But Kahn, I've got a word over my left, over my right shoulder for those watching.
Yes.
Stimulating. This is going to be a new part of the show, especially coming out of the weekend. One word, because we know how good I am with words. I misuse them. I mispronounce them. I misspell them. I think the one over my right shoulder is spelled correctly here today. Stimulating. One word to really describe all the vibes, all the feels coming out of opening weekend, and from all the drama that we had. Okay, all the vibes, all the emotions coming out of the events at Globe Life in Puerto Rico, in the desert, the drama between Louisville and Texas in the late innings this opening weekend. It was awesome. You had Michigan jumping off to a 4-0 start, knocking off the second-ranked team in the land in Virginia on Friday, going 4-0 in Puerto Rico, certainly making a statement. The atmosphere in College Station down 2-0 in the 6th inning. The top-ranked Aggies against Elon and the ball 4 chant going up to ball 9, ball 10. The bubbles it was like a rave in College Station. I mean, you talk about the energy, the rowdiness, all the vibes. I was stimulated to the highest degree. And then Cade below. You want to be romantic about baseball, pulling on every single heartstring. The tear-jerking moment that we had on the plains on Friday night was something that you could not script.
Yeah, you certainly can't script. So for those who were unaware of what happened over the weekend, on Friday morning, the morning of opening day, Cade Below's mom, Stacy, passed away from breast cancer. And there was discussion from Butch Thompson with his staff, with Cade as well, about will he play? Should he play? Like, does he want to play? And Cade adamantly said his mom wants him to play. And what happened Friday night, you can't script stuff, anything like this.
Fly ball, right center. It's deep. It's gone. He hit it out of here.
You know, some things just transcend the human experience and how sports can bring everybody together, and that's one of them.
Audio courtesy of the Auburn Sports Network. David, he was grappling with decision at 10:30 a.m. in the morning. Cade was, whether the player or not. Mitch Thompson, the head coach, leaned on Cade's dad. Now, he went to Auburn High School. He's from the area. He had been with his mom. You know, it's not like he was from some other part of the country. You know, this was happening on the home front. And Auburn, very much that town, that community is ingrained into the college campus. You know, I spent a weekend there covering Arkansas and calling games. So, you know, so Cade is right there. The Plainsman Park is basically his neighbor from where he stays. And Mitch Thompson went to Cade's dad and had said, hey, I'm going to yield to you. Cade decided that, yeah, that was the best thing, what his mother has wanted, what you had illustrated there. And he goes out and he delivers. And the game does transcend life in so many different ways. I mean, just a tremendous moment. Just incredible. I mean, and to have that on opening night, too, for a young man, a sophomore, I believe, in Cade Below, who really went on a homer streak at the end of last year, had a couple of big bombs and key moments for an Auburn team that really underperformed, did not make the NCAA tournament, so high hopes for them. Potential bounce-back team coming out of the SEC, a team that was in Omaha not too long ago, to be able to come back, get that win, perform against Holy Cross all weekend long. But David, on opening night, in front of a record-breaking crowd as well at a renovated Plainsman Park, 5,718, just magnificent theater.
Oh, absolutely. And he ends up having an incredible weekend as well. 6 for 12 on the weekend, 5 steals for Cade Ballou as well. And you mentioned the Auburn team didn't even make the NCAA tournament. They didn't make it to Hoover last year, let alone the NCAA tournament. They were done at the end of the regular season. So it's a great start to the year and a truly touching, heartwarming story for Cade Ballou and his family and for the Auburn community for what he did on opening night in honor of his mom, Stacy, who once again passed away from breast cancer. And also a tip of the cap to Auburn and their marketing and game day presentation department, because they put together a very special announcement and public address ceremony before the game. And I don't know how there was a dry eye in the house at Plainsman Park, because I listened to that on that clip you played as well. And I was tearing up, and I just found out about it when I saw the video. So incredible stuff all the way around. Truly something you cannot script. And like you said, it transcends the game of baseball. But what a special moment on opening night, on an opening weekend that had a ton of special moments and drama for all different kinds of reasons.
Yeah, and speaking of crowds, 8,013 rowdy fans at Bluebell Park in College Station, largest opening day crowd in Texas A&M Aggies baseball history, second largest crowd overall since 2012. They won 4-2 over Elon on Friday night. Were able to sweep the Phoenix. By the way, it took me a moment or two because I was locked into this game when it was 2-0 in the 6th inning. I mean, I was getting my college baseball fix with the rest of the entire nation on Friday night, trying to bounce around, find the right game to sit on. I was taking in Cincinnati and Duke, Arkansas, Washington State were playing a doubleheader, ECU earlier in the day. I mean, I was going coast to coast. You see Santa Barbara later in the evening, but there was one game in particular that I was most jazzed about. And sure, you can call it the SEC bias that I might be accused of from time to time, but it was at Texas A&M, and they're playing Elon, which was Jim Schlossnagel's alma mater. You got to imagine that's why this series was scheduled.
Yes.
And he's not there. So, you know, kind of a twist of a knife reminder to all the Aggie fans of your former coach in Schloss, who Texas had a pretty dope weekend. I'd say outside of the final inning and a half against Louisville, would have been one of the more impressive statements being made at Globe Life opening weekend, that late inning loss against Louisville. We'll come back to that. But for them to be down 2-0, to be able to score on a couple of walks, a wild pitch, eventually take the lead. This was all after Ryan Prager came out. He wasn't tagged. He gave 5 good innings for the Aggies, and then 5 scoreless innings and 8 strikeouts. But Texas A&M was just kind of able to grind out at bats, find a way, and then, you know, Jace Lavalette, 3 home runs on the weekend. His only 3 hits, and the power source really was tapped into throughout the rest of the weekend at Bluebell Park.
Yeah, it was. And like you said, the atmosphere was amazing. And we're used to seeing this Texas A&M team grind out wins. They did it last year in Omaha when they made it to the College World Series finals against Tennessee. Like, that's what this team does. They are grinders. It doesn't matter if it's Jim Schlossnagel or Michael Early, you know, at the helm, you know, leading this team. They feed off of the energy of each other. They feed off of the energy of the Rattling Bog. Like we mentioned, we talked to Gravin Grahovac last year, and they feed off of the energy of the crowd. And Bluebell Park was electric, especially on opening night. And yeah, I mean, it is funny to think about the fact that Jim Schlossnagle wanted to play his alma mater and then now isn't the head coach anymore. But really, just taking a look at Texas A&M, they have the preseason #1 billing. They are everyone's biggest target right now. So if you're Texas A&M, you have to show up and show out on opening weekend, and they certainly did, coming back from 2-0 and then ending up outscoring Elon 32-14 across the 3-game sweep on opening weekend.
Cincinnati, I brought them up. I want to pivot to them real quick because they're into the top 25 rankings for the first time in school history. I want to pull up a tweet, and this is it's crazy to think. Well, 2025 is when the D1 baseball top 25 rankings became a thing. So it hasn't been that long.
2015, yes.
Yeah, 20. What did I say? 2005?
2025, yeah.
Okay.
You said this year, 2025.
The third number, I never get right in the year, okay? Years have 4 numbers nowadays, or for the last 2,000 plus. I don't know.
Yes.
How many? You know what I'm saying.
Yes.
I never get the third number right because I've been alive too long. I'm too old now. I'm 36 years old. I don't know if it's 05, 15, or 25. And if I write it down, I'm going to say it wrong. I mean, this is an area.
This is what I have to look forward to in 6 years. Is this what's coming for me as a newly minted 30-year-old?
Yes. Yeah. When you get into your 30s, you tend to mess up a digit or two more often than not. So this guy's a fascinating follow. I added him to one of our pages. By the way, at 3D Dingers, follow us on Twitter, on X, please. We're growing an audience. I've already deleted a tweet from Kahn because we don't have enough followers yet to be able to follow the call to action. This guy's saying, hey, drop us your favorite moments on Twitter. Hey, Kahn, we got 23 followers. Who are you talking to?
That's why I retweeted it to my 1,000 followers.
Jesus. I saw that last night leaving the office at late after Duke, and I'm like, delete? This is the kind of barbs that we're going to be throwing at each other throughout the season. Okay, Matt Pagnine, Coach Pag, 775. This dude is a quote-unquote on X small ball apologist. Hashtag bunt life, hashtag create chaos, hashtag on over in.
Does he go to Kentucky?
This is incredible. No, but he sounds like a Kentucky guy through and through. All right, here it is. Cincy creating chaos. Go Bearcat baseball tormented 11th ranked Duke over the weekend. Won 2 of 3. First series win versus a ranked team since 2019. Listen to these ancillary numbers, these hustle numbers, these chaotic numbers. 6 bunt base hits, 3 sack bunts, 3 squeeze bunts, 7 stolen bases, 20 walks, 8 hit by pitch, 32 runs. Hashtag bunt life, hashtag create chaos. LFG, baby. The Bearcats. Awesome. Let's go.
Holy smokes. I mean, I was already just impressed by the fact that they went into Durham and took 2 out of 3 from the 11th ranked team in the country and get their first ever appearance in the top 25. But the way they did it, that's awesome, especially when you think about the fact that you take a look at Cincinnati last year. They were among the first 4 out among the field of 64. They were a snub, quote unquote, RPI around 62. They were 5th in the Big 12, 17-13 in Big 12 play last year. And so now, they're coming into this season, like we've seen with teams like an NC State a couple years ago, with a chip on their shoulder. They're trying to prove like, hey, you left us out and that was a mistake. And they come in and make an absolute statement victory over number 11 Duke in the series on Duke's home turf in Durham. They win game 1 8-3, lose game 2 6-5 in 12 innings, and then pound Duke on Sunday 19-5 in game 3. So all around a phenomenal effort. I had no idea that they did it with such chaotic behavior, but that's awesome.
Our boy Chris Edwards on the TV call, the ACC Network Plus, ESPN Plus, whatever it is, where we are ingesting and digesting all of this baseball over the weekend. It was good to hear from him. He had a bipartisan call, if you will, on the Cincy win, a late home run in the game 1 win on Friday night, which is interesting for a guy that normally is calling, such pro-Duke events, but he's got a TV call. But he did get a Duke, quote-unquote, a go homer and a walk-off win for the Blue Devils on Saturday before Cincy won game 3 in convincing fashion. All right, let's go to Michigan, man. They start 4-0. They run through Puerto Rico. They beat a Stetson team on Monday to get to 4-0. How about Stetson? How about the Hatters? They beat UConn. They beat Penn State. They beat Mizzou right out of the gates in Puerto Rico. UConn, one of 9 Big East teams to all lose right away on Friday. The Big East started 0-9. They finished 1-10. Nova with the only win on opening day, a 10-6 victory over Rice. But Stetson 3-0, Michigan 3-0. They meet in Puerto Rico of all places. Michigan comes away with the win. They're 4-0, and I am reminded that Tracy Smith is their head coach, the former Arizona State head coach. I mean, I might put Big Blue in Omaha just based off this weekend. Overreaction.
They were there not too long ago, 2019. I mean, they were in that finals against Vandy.
But that was Eric Bakich. That was different.
It was.
Now we got a more veteran team. Tracy Smith has had his hand on this program now a couple of seasons. But this might be it. Mitch Voigt, is he healthy? The two-way star for the Maize and Blue? He didn't pitch over the weekend. However, he did hit. I just sent his numbers up. What did he do? 471 average, 8 of 17, had 2 bombs and 7 RBIs, slugging over 1,000. Mitch Voigt.
Like, the thing about that Michigan team that you remember from 2019 was how good their rotation was. And you take a look at how they pitched over the weekend. Kurt Barr, 5 innings, 1 unearned run, 8 strikeouts. David Lally, 5 shutout innings. Dylan Vigneault, 5 1/3, 2 runs. Gavin DeVote, 7 1/3 shutout innings, 9 Ks. Granted, I understand it was against Rice. 2 of those games were against Rice and Villanova, but another one of those games was against number 2 Virginia. Another one of those games was against Stetson, a regional team from a year ago who went 3-0 the rest of the weekend in Puerto Rico, like you mentioned, and beat UConn and Penn State. These are not bad wins. These are good wins for Michigan, and for their pitchers to pitch as well as they did, that's a really, really positive sign for Tracy Smith's club, especially when, like we mentioned, 5 years ago, their rotation carried them to the College World Series finals, so possibly deja vu.
Yeah, Virginia will be fine. Michigan walks off second-ranked Virginia in Game 1 on Friday, so that certainly was, a very loud victory that enabled us to have the attention, if you will, of Michigan, and they finished 4-0 in Puerto Rico. So I think Tracy Smith, that's the wild card there. I mean, I know Arizona State didn't put out the sort of seasons and results that an Arizona State fan, certainly accustomed to the pedigree and the history, would have wanted when he was in the desert, but still a guy that put together some top recruiting classes, coached at a baseball blue blood, coach guys like Spencer Torkelson and others. And now, maybe the pressure cooker got so hot, or he wasn't delivering enough results, satisfactory ones in the eyes of the Arizona State folks. He goes to Michigan, he goes to the Big Ten, man. And there's a little bit of a Pac-12 flavor in there now. We got to recalibrate our minds for the third time this year, Kahn. First, it was football and the eyesores of seeing teams like Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and USC all competing in the Big Ten. And there's other examples in Cal and Stanford and SMU in the ACC, and we can go on with Oklahoma and Texas. But we had to go through it with basketball. And now we're going to have to adjust and condition ourselves again for a third time with college baseball as this season is beginning. But I think the Big Ten is wide open. Nebraska went 2-2 this past weekend. I was high on Will Bolt and this squad, but they did beat Vanderbilt. They lost to Grand Canyon on Monday, but still, it's early. You don't want to overreact. But I think Tracy Smith may be going to a place with less pressure, less expectation. Not to say Michigan doesn't care about winning, as you said, and reminded us all. They were just in Omaha in 2019 when Eric Bakich and that squad lost to Vanderbilt for the national championship. So they won the national championship in college football just 2 seasons ago. They may be an NCAA tournament Sweet 16 Final Four team. We'll have to see. They demand excellence. They want the best, and they got a guy who sort of maybe got pushed out of town, and this could be a better situation for him. So I like Michigan. I like the prospects of Michigan here moving forward in 2015. We'll have our Omaha predictions coming up here shortly. I may very well have them in. It's
essentially a situation of just let Tracy Smith cook, right? Yeah. Because at Arizona State, like you said, there's too much pressure on him, and we've seen that when Arizona State was in the Pac-12, now in the Big 12. Like, there is a lot of pressure on the team, the desert teams especially, to perform because of the levels of excellence that we've seen, more recently from Arizona. But Arizona, rough weekend for them, going 0-3. We'll touch on them in a little bit, but it's essentially of, like you said, he goes to Michigan. There's not as much baseball expectation in the Big Ten as we see in the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12. Especially with the SEC, being so dominant, winning the College World Series, consecutively, the last 5 champions coming out of the SEC. And so it's a situation where, like you said, he goes to Michigan and there's not as much pressure, not as much expectation, and he can just coach. There's no one breathing down his neck, and maybe he's put together a Michigan team worthy of making it back to the tournament and making some noise to try and go to Omaha.
Let's go to the Shriners Children's College Showdown. You bring up Arizona. They went 0 for 3 in a very competitive weekend. I mean, the field was balanced. There was some elite high-level baseball. Maybe there were some scars and deficiencies that were revealed at times from teams with very high upside. You were seeing the best. You were seeing the worst at times as teams try to figure out this rotation and lineup. And you got a few weeks, okay? This is all in preparation for league play. Every coach will tell you that. This is when you can tinker. But if you're coming right out of the gate and playing an event like the Shriners at Globe Life Field in Arlington, you better have your big boy pants on. And Louisville, who was down to their final strike in the bottom of the ninth inning against Texas, was able to come through with a 2-run single with 2 away, tie the game. Texas plates one in the top of the third, goes ahead 3-2, and then a 2-run 10th inning for the Cards in the bottom half as they walk off Texas and just a thrilling 4-3 win. I think Dan McDonald, the Mac attack, might have the Cards rolling again. At least I hope so. I feel like the ACC is stronger when Louisville is part of the conversation, and they have not been over the last couple of years. But hey, FSU has certainly reclaimed their throne in a way. UNC looks like an Omaha team again, but man, if we could have Louisville back in the equation, I think that's good for college baseball. So I thought that was awesome, Kahn. My favorite moment, though, you and I talked about it before the show last week in preparation for opening day, was Eric Bakich doing the first couple of games on radio for Clemson, who overcame a 4-1 deficit to knock off Oklahoma State day one on Friday.
Tigers trail 4-1. Foul ball makes it 1-2. Here's a pitch from McGovern. Inside for ball 2. Let me ask you, so in a play like that where the first baseman's setting up on the green bag, is the runner allowed to hit the white bag first? I mean, can he run in the other bag in that circumstance?
I have no idea, Qualk. I think that's the case, but yeah, I think there's a lot of rules with those 2 bases that I think we're going to be figuring out on the fly. But yeah, once the play starts in foul territory, a perfect example: strike 3, swing and miss, the ground gets away. The green base or the foul ball base is the one the first baseman will use, and so the runner would switch back to the other one.
Fantastic. So there we go. We're just people helping people right here.
Yeah, Bakich is clueless as all of us when it comes to the green bag at times. You thought I was going to give you a game-winning hit or some offensive play courtesy of WCCP-FM, the Roar of the Clemson flagship home. But no, that was Bakich in his hotel room. Couldn't even go to the stadium. And he said beforehand, hey, I can't get ejected from my hotel room. And this is as a result of that all-timer 13-inning affair in the Super Regionals between Florida and Clemson right before Omaha last year that helped the Gators punch their ticket to get to Omaha. Clemson, their season came to an end, but it was over a celebration, I believe. I don't know how much
it was. Even. Yes, it was a ejection. Yeah. There was that weird play at first where someone made – I don't remember the full details, but somebody made contact with the first baseman. Eric Bakich came out, and they threw him out for leaving the dugout along with a bunch of other players, and then Bakich was levied a 2-game suspension. The problem was that was it. Clemson lost. It was over. Like their season was done. So they carry the 2-game suspension into the 2025 season, which, by the way, is the dumbest, we're going to earn our E here, fucking thing I've ever heard. That should not be a thing. I'm sorry. Like, it happened last year. It's over. Just give them a little fine and move on. Like, why are we suspending the head coach for the first 2 games of the next season with a new team? Those are important games. Now, I get it. Clemson won both of them, so it didn't end up mattering that he wasn't in the dugout or let alone in the stadium. But that is the absolute dumbest rule I've ever heard, that your suspension can carry over from an offseason. Like, I know it happens in the big leagues, but that's due to, like, PED use, like, illegal stuff. He got ejected. Get over it. Let him coach.
So the Tigers come back and win over Oklahoma State 6-5. That was just some commentary in the middle innings over the green bag and the white bag and a drop third and things that we learned going to Hoover last year in figuring out the do's and don'ts when there's a play in foul territory or in fair territory. And Bakich, the humility he's showing and also, he took it like questions. The questions that he has. Now, he was working on a delay, which they referenced multiple times. I listened to several innings of this because he's watching the Flow Sports feed, which is coming well after the radio feed. So he was only able to react maybe at least a minute after things were happening. So I think in real time, he was actually seeing things happening on TV after he was already addressing the question and being able to formulate a better answer. But no, there was some good analysis from Bakich all weekend long. The 2 games that he was on the broadcast for, Clemson won. The game he wasn't, they lost in 7 innings by 10 to Ole Miss. Just saying, Bakich. If you want a full-time spot in the radio booth, maybe you and I or you and Kahn can go tag team elsewhere and you can give up this coaching thing. And we can deliver winners endlessly, all around, from corner to corner, nationally. Let's do it.
There we go. We're going to take Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers back on the road every week. We'll find a game, and Eric Bakich will be our analyst. There we go. We got it. You and I can switch off.
They did successfully pull a hidden ball trick against Ole Miss in the 10-run loss, though. That was pretty sweet.
That was awesome. That was my favorite moment of the entire weekend, just watching the fact that they pulled off the hidden ball trick. I was going to bring that up later. They pulled off the hidden ball trick at third base, of all things. And honestly, shame on the base runner, because every coach tells you, do not leave your base until the pitcher touches the rubber, because the pitcher can't touch the rubber if he doesn't have the ball. And if you watch the video, the runner took his lead and the pitcher was well off the mound and the third baseman got him. I mean, it was absolutely textbook, well pulled off by Clemson. But shame on you, base runner. You got to know better. You got to watch and make sure that foot is touching rubber, and then you can leave the bag.
Yeah, you love to see it. You really do. 2-1 was the record for 4 of the teams: Louisville, Texas, Clemson, and Ole Miss. Just further indication of the balance this past weekend at Globe Life. And there's more baseball coming up this weekend. We'll touch on what's upcoming in the midweek and this weekend before we get off. We'll try to keep this episode to 60 minutes, but likely it's going to be more like 120. We'll do our best, okay? Come on.
We try.
We got lives. We got lives to live. Oklahoma State went 1-2. Arizona went 0-3. Not like our lives are more important, though, than entertaining the collective college baseball nation who's here to listen and consume Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. Again, YouTube channel, Dugouts, Dumbbells, Dingers. On Twitter, on X, at 3D Dingers. Let's move to, before we break and get to our Omaha predictions, let's touch on one other event this past weekend. And then if you got anything else, we'll empty our notebook at the end of the show. But yeah, the MLB Desert 4, as it was called, at a couple of different minor league parks. Grand Canyon, really the home team, the host team, if you will. Vanderbilt went 2-1. They did get a win over Air Force on Monday, so a 3-1 showing for them. Nebraska went 2-2, lost a Monday game to Grand Canyon. I don't know if UCI played on Monday, but they did get one. Okay. They went 2-1. Canyon finished the weekend at 2-2. Some high-level baseball. Again, some great crowds. I mean, those Grand Canyon people, that university, and the way they invest and the way they come out in masses for the Antelopes, it's a sight to behold, certainly, for a mid-major type squad that wants to perform at the rate of a high-major club in terms of the fan allegiance, the investment in the sport, the facilities, all of that. It was on display in the MLB Network, part of the MLB Desert 4. Riley Nelson, right, for Vanderbilt, had a grand slam in this game to help Vanderbilt on Sunday. Riley Nelson, Vanderbilt rallied in the 8th inning to salvage a game against UCI. So credit the Anteaters, in being able to come back and make that one uncomfortable for Vanderbilt. You also had Austin P. Roland Fanning's squad pick up one win, but had a guy in Nathan Barksdale connect on a grand slam on a 4-hit night, nearly hit for the cycle. I mean, there were some good individual performances all around. My main takeaway is I think R.J. Austin, a guy who we've seen in Hoover over the last couple of years from Vanderbilt. I mean, that dude's a bona fide first-round draft pick.
Oh, he absolutely is. I want to say my main takeaway, though, is UCI is for real. They beat Nebraska 10-5. Yes, I know they beat up on New Mexico 18-4, but they took Vandy to the wire 9-8 in that game where Vanderbilt had to come back and beat UCI. I think the Anteaters are an absolute real deal team, and I'm excited to watch them the rest of the way. I also do want to mention, we touched on the top of the show with Cade Ballou, his mom passing away due to cancer. Nebraska also had a very tough weekend with dealing with the fact that their longtime radio voice, Greg Sharpe, passed away on Saturday at 61 years old after a 10-month battle with pancreatic cancer. And Nebraska actually rallied around him on Saturday to beat Vanderbilt 6-4 in a very touching moment for that program. They did go 2-2 on the weekend, but just a huge heartstring pulling moment for Nebraska to rally around Sharpe, as they call him, when they win on the day that he passes away after his battle with cancer.
Yeah, certainly thinking of the Blow family, the Sharpe family, all others who are dealing with sickness and death and health. And it's not easy out there. And you never know certainly all the particulars and specifics about what someone or a group or a family is dealing with at any time. That goes for anyone. But yeah, those are some of the bigger storylines impacting programs and teams this past weekend. So our hearts are with whoever it is, all those that are impacted. But look, life must go on. We must pick ourselves out of the depths and provide you with some Omaha 8 predictions. So we will do that coming up next here on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers.
Which schools will take home the prestigious Learfield Directors Cup as the top college athletic programs for the 2024-25 college athletic season? You can follow the standings of your favorite team or alma mater at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at thedirectorscup.com. Trophies will be awarded in June 2025 to the winning institutions in all college sports divisions. Learfield Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics.
You're muted, big guy.
Why do I do this to myself? You unmuted yourself. Did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes.
God, I suck at life, man. It's been a while. I'm trying to be so fancy over here. By the way,
it's wearing everybody's first podcast.
By the way, check out the shirt I'm wearing. You peep the swag. Really? Our friends at Baseball Barbecue. Thank you to them. Go to baseballbarbecue.com. We got a discount code. All right. There's no better time to gear up for the spring and summer season, and certainly baseball. Nothing goes better with baseball than barbecue. So you want some custom-made, bat-engraved grill utensils and materials, from home plate, outlined cutting boards, to all of the special different engravings and touch to each of these grill tools. Go to baseballbarbecue.com, and there's some high-quality stuff for casual fans or for serious grillers. 3D-20 will get you 20% off. 3D20 is the discount code. Plenty of college baseball teams are a part of that. Again, baseballbarbecue.com. And you can find merch, T-shirts like this, grillies. If you grill it, they will come. That's one of the shirts you have, right, Con?
That's right. I love it. I've worn it so many times. It's so comfortable, too. Like, it's not just a cool design. It's the material. It just feels great against your skin. I like wearing it.
It feels so good. There's a lot of things that feel good against my skin, but we'll save that for another show. Again, fun, functional baseball barbecue products. Go to baseballbarbecue.com. Use the promo code 3D20. All right, my 8 for Omaha. I'm just going to run through these.
Good.
And then I'll give you my pick for the national. I'm going to do my 8. You do your 8. We'll go national champ of that collection, and then we'll give you a Golden Spikes prediction.
Love it.
UNC. I think North Carolina, just so much depth, so much more experience. I mean, a guy like Jason DeCaro, who's now a sophomore and might be the best pitcher in the country. I mean, there's Jamie Arnold. There's Ryan Prager. There's the dude out of UCSB. What is it? Tyler Hemner. I think DeCaro has 5 innings, 1 hit, 6 Ks against Texas Tech. A very loud season opening sweep the Tar Heels had of the Red Raiders. We hadn't even really touched on that yet this weekend. They have 3 outfield holes to fill. I think Carolina will find the right pieces to plug and play to get back to Omaha. And Folger Bowles, who got hurt after 9 starts last year. If he's able to stay healthy, I think that Carolina pitching staff is going to stand up against anyone in the country. They do have to replace Vance Honeycutt, but they'll find a way. I feel good about Carolina. Florida State, Jamie Arnold, enough said. Link Jarrett, sure. How about Noah Sheffield, Gary Sheffield's son, who hit his first collegiate home run this past weekend? I've seen all I need to see about FSU. I think Florida State gets back to Omaha. Clemson, who we just got done talking about, Cam Canarella, could be a Golden Spikes Award winner. Missed the fall, was hurt at the back end of last season. I think that lineup is scary, can hurt you in a multitude of different ways. I got a true bona fide ace in Aiden Kanak. So you got UNC, Florida State, and Clemson. I got 3 ACC schools. I'm then going to go to the Big Ten, keep with the Michigan theme. Tracy Smith, let's do it, baby. Maize and Blue, getting back to Omaha. with Michigan, the other surprise I would have, and I'm saving the SEC for last because we know there's going to be 3 or 4 teams. I'm only going with 3 SEC, but I am going with DBU to finally break through and make it to Omaha. Dan Hefner in his 17th season, previous 16 years, he's only missed the tournament 3 times. He's made it to 10 consecutive NCAA tournaments. They got power dudes like Grant J, Chaden Cross, James Elander. If he can be healthy, he was injured last year. He's as good of a top gun as there is nationally, and I trust in Hefner. I trust maybe the best mid-major, non-high major program to not get to Omaha to this point. It's between them and ECU, and I don't think ECU even escapes a regional round. They'll be lucky to sniff the NCAA tournament this year with 31 new faces and relying on a true freshman to be their ace. I think DBU is going to break through and get to Omaha. They're going to be the darling coming up in the College World Series. So that's 5, okay? Michigan, DBU, 3 ACC, and North Carolina, Florida State, and Clemson. My 3 SEC, Florida, Arkansas, LSU. Derek Curleo, the freshman for LSU. I know I'm not saying his name right. Do you have it, Con?
I don't, but I can find the game notes where the pronunciation guide's listed.
Do you think I'm looking at game notes in the middle of February for pronunciation?
Definitely not, but that's why I don't have it either.
Yeah, okay. So expect me to mispronounce that, at least for a couple of more weeks. But that freshman is going to be a stud. We got Bear Jones back, 28 home runs last year. If he can cut down on the strikeouts, he can be a Golden Spikes Award finalist. We'll see. Luis Hernandez coming over from Indiana State. They're going to pitch. Jay Johnson, national champs 2 years ago. Why not? LSU gets back there after North Carolina beat them in the Supers a year ago. Arkansas, they're going to try to be more physical. They need to be. They need to find more power. They tapped in the gorilla ball in theory last year, but it never really shown. The results never came on the field. They're going to try and steal more bases as well, something that they haven't done in past years. And Aloy, my God, Vahiva Aloy, his brother is also on the team. You got 2 of them. You got 2 Aloy
from BYU. Yeah.
You got 2 Aloys on the team. How about the play from Aloy, too, in the 10th inning, down 2-1 to Washington State in the opener. Arkansas had to come back and walk off the Cougs at Baum-Walker Stadium. Arkansas records their 700th win on the weekend all-time at Baum-Walker Stadium, too, in the 4-game sweep of the Cougs. But Aloy, drifting out into shallow center field with his back to home plate, makes an incredible catch. Washington State tags from third base. Aloy is able to fire off his back foot, twist, throw into the plate. I think it may have hopped once. Terrific play. Was able to cut down the runner and preserve what was a 2-1 game. And then Arkansas was able to come back there in the late innings and extra innings and win in walk-off fashion. So, from Souza, Ryder Helfrich, who likes his taters mashed. I mean, there is some power, a great mix of transfers. Is this year that Arkansas finally breaks through and wins the whole thing? I don't know, but they're going to get back to Omaha this year. I trust DVH. I think it's year 23 for Dave Van Horn. And then with Florida, Con, I've got more, but Brody, don't you know, Donay. 6'5", 245 pounds, dripping wet. I mean, this is CAGS 3.0, okay? My new love affair starts and ends with Brody Donay. Not to mention Cade Curlin, Colby Shelton, Ty Evans is back, Liam Peterson is your ace. And then Pierce Capola's throwing 100 miles per hour every single time he rips back. I mean, this Florida team used 3 different lineups this past weekend. They started guys in different parts of the order across all 3 days against Air Force. By the way, hat tip to the Air Force Sky team for parachuting in Gainesville. It was amazing.
It was incredible. Pierce Capola, 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 12 Ks. Dealing. I screenshotted that on Florida social media because I was like, holy crap, because this guy has been dealing with all kinds of issues and injuries, trying to get back to what everyone thought he was going to be, and to come out and throw a dart like that against the Air Force Academy on opening weekend, that's a good sign if there are things to come for him. But yeah, I love this Florida team. They are one of my 8 for Omaha as well. Shass. I'll leave the rest of the SEC till the end, just like you did. I have 4 from the SEC. I only have uno ACC teams. I have a Big East, a Big 10, and a Big 12 in Omaha. So we're a little more scattered on the rest of the conferences than you were. I We'll tell you the non-SEC, ACC teams first. So we're going to go Big Ten. We're not going to go Michigan. We're going to go with a team that has not made it to Omaha since 1954. Give me a team that has made it to the Super Regionals back-to-back seasons, haven't cracked it. They're getting there this year. Quack, quack, baby. The Oregon Ducks are going to Omaha.
Dude, they lost at home to or wherever they lost. They lost at Toledo over the weekend.
I don't care. They're going to Omaha.
All right.
They're snapping the 70-year drought. I am not overreacting. We love to overreact on opening weekend. I'm not overreacting. Just like I think Duke will be competing and be just fine, even though they lost the series to Cincinnati at home. Oregon is going to go to Omaha this year. They have an absolute stud in their Friday night guy, Grayson Grinsell, who's on the Golden Spikes watch list as well. He led the Pac-12 last year, 196 batting average against him, 99 Ks, and he's going to be even better this year. And he was only a freshman last year. This guy, that was a different guy. But anyways, he's going to be amazing. So he's going to lead their staff, and they're going to crack the door and get back to Omaha. Besides Oregon, out of the Big East, give me a rematch of last year's epic fight between Florida State and UConn. And this year, the Huskies will derail the Seminole train and get to Omaha. UConn has not been to Omaha since I had it written down 1979. They have not been to Omaha since 1979. They've won 4 straight Big East regular season championships, 5 consecutive NCAA tournament berths. They have been here before. They know what they're doing. They have the experience, and they will pull the biggest upset of the college baseball postseason and end Florida State's run one stop short of Omaha, because I am very high on Florida State, but this is my otherworldly upset pick for the year to start. And then in the Big 12, this is going to be the one that's probably the most shocking. Give me West Virginia to make their first ever appearance at the College World Series. Steve Saban's first year. The offense is absolutely loaded. They have a ton of guys back in the lineup. The pitching is a huge question mark, but they got a great transfer in Griffin Kern. He was absolutely outstanding in his Friday night start against Jacksonville. They have some pieces that are moving from the bullpen to the rotation, Carson Estridge notably. But if these guys can figure out their rotation and pitch as well as they're capable of, this team is absolutely dangerous, could win the Big 12, and could go to Omaha. So there's my 3 teams outside of the ACC and the SEC. My lone ACC team, it is going to be the Clemson Tigers. For all the reasons you stated earlier, I absolutely love this team. I think Eric Bakich has an absolutely stacked squad. So put Clemson in the Final 8 in Omaha.
Only if he continues to call games on the radio.
Yes.
Get to Omaha.
Exactly. And then my 4 SEC, you mentioned 2 of mine, Arkansas and Florida. I agree with you there. Arkansas with a sweep with the Cougs. Florida just getting all kinds of great stuff from Liam Peterson and Pierce Coppola on the mound. And then their lineup, like you mentioned, so many guys back. Yes, they lost Cags. Enjoy your time in the sunshine, my friend. But Brody Donay, like you mentioned, is going to hopefully step up for Florida and take the reins of what Cags was doing a year ago. I've also got the number 1 team in the country, Texas A&M, getting back to Omaha, and Tennessee, last year's national champion, returning to the College World Series. So there's my 8. Tennessee, Texas A&M, Arkansas, and Florida from the SEC, Clemson from the ACC, UConn, Oregon, West Virginia outside those 3. UConn in the Big East, Oregon in the Big 10, and West Virginia in the Big 12.
So you got Michael Early getting Texas A&M to Omaha, but no Schloss, no Texas.
Nope.
Okay. All right, I like that. By the way, I looked up the pronunciation guide. I was right.
It's Curial. Yeah, you're right.
Curial.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Sounds like a rice. Top freshman in the country coming in, by the way. Derek Curial. From Cali.
I mean, no surprise. Jay Johnson, West Coast boy.
Florida wins it all. Last time they won the national championship.
I have the same thing.
Last time they won, 2017, was also immediately after the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. And they just won the Super Bowl.
We don't need to talk about that.
Sorry. Why do we not need to talk about that? You're a Patriots fan.
Yeah, they beat the Patriots. I don't want to talk about when they lose the Super Bowl.
Oh, I'm thinking about a couple of weeks ago against the Chiefs. Sorry. Look, I am here to protect Tom Brady outside of his analysis in the Fox NFL broadcast booth. So, I don't want to
bad on the Super Bowl.
I don't want to bring back, bad times, where my guy's taking shots. So I'm a Brady supporter, and I appreciate the dynasty that was the New England Patriots far more than accepting what the Chiefs have become. So yes, I took great pleasure and then being denied of a third straight Super Bowl. Don't tell Bob. All right, I got Florida. Like I said, they used a different lineup all 3 days this past weekend. But here's the thing. With Cags out of the order, and how many did he hit? 35 dongs? 35 ding-dongs?
It was 34-35. I don't remember the exact number. I'll find it for you. Keep waxing.
Was it the record? Did he surpass the Hispanic Titanic? I feel like we got to remind ourselves of this every single year. And the record gets obliterated or at least surpassed every single year because it's just the time of the long ball. Chicks dig it. What can I say? And Brody Donay might be the latest. No, I don't know if he's going to, because this Florida team does not have to rely on the long ball. And I think with Caglianone's absence, I think this team is going to invent new ways to score. They're not going to have to lean on the power surge of one Jack Caglianone in the lineup. They're going to be able to do it in a multitude of different ways. It's going to make all these guys better 1 through 9, and they can hit in any spot of the order. You know, outside of a Heyman or Donay, they're going to be in the meat, but you can move all these other pieces around. I just think, and they're running. I think they stole 9 bags in just on Saturday alone. I had read it. I think Etheridge had the story on D1Baseball.com. I think they got thrown out only once. It might have stole like 14 bags on the weekend. I mean, they're playing Air Force, but just a spectacular, dominate, convince. They're not going to be scratching and clawing to get into the tournament the way they did a year ago. So I love Florida. I love all these pieces. We could say it for every team. Stay healthy. Define your rotation. Pick the others up when they're done. There's going to be some lulls. Okay, this is a 56-game marathon. It's not a sprint. And right now you're just working on towards the SEC in those 10 final weekends and trying to find a way to play your best baseball at the right time. I mean, it's all cliche. We know it. We should remind new audience members who are coming in under our 3D tent. Thank you. Okay. By the way, I was flashing my armpit for those watching on the new YouTube channel. As always, very much in character, very sweaty. Sweaty Shass. You know, I'm throwing my best Shass ball here. Okay. My best Shass ball. Makes me perspirate.
That should go in our updated promo. We'll give you our best Schwass ball.
No, a Swass ball or a Shass ball? Come on.
Shass ball. Shass ball. Yeah.
I think we might be able to slip Shass ball past the goalie much more than a Swass ball for airing a,
no, you're right. You're right.
And all of our wonderful partners.
I meant Shass ball.
Okay.
No, you're right. Florida went 14-15 over the weekend in steals. And they didn't do it by having to hit the long ball. They did hit 6 home runs, by the way. And it actually brings up a really, interesting point that I noticed over the weekend, because there were other teams that didn't really have to hit the home run as much as we anticipated they might, especially in the big ballpark in Globe Life Field. You talk about Clemson. They scored 27 runs this weekend, hit 324 as a team. They didn't hit a home run.
Zero.
At all. Zero. You take a look at Louisville. They scored 20 runs. They didn't homer either. So it's this weird trend where you're looking at it and you're going, okay, well, yeah, some of them are playing in an MLB stadium. It's bigger. They're not used to it. But maybe we'll see. Maybe chicks will dig the small ball this year, Shass. We don't know. Maybe that'll be the theme of the 2025 college baseball season is chicks dig small ball.
That gives me more hope for life than you can possibly imagine. Thank you. Who's your winner?
Florida. I had the same thing.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah, we agree. As soon as you said it, I was like, damn it, because I was hoping we would disagree so I could actually wax on Florida a little bit. But you already just absolutely, slapped all the pieces out there of why I think they're amazing and they're going to win it. And I agree. I have Florida winning it all.
By the way, Brody Donay did homer 3 times over the weekend.
Yeah.
Let me get how many RBIs in total? 5. But he went 7 of 10, walked twice.
He hit 700. He hit 700.
Dude, I'm telling you, dude.
OPS of 2.550.
What do I have to do to look like Brody Donay? I don't know if I ever asked this question specifically about Jack Caglianone. Something about Florida Gators, man, and my life and the life that I want to live and who I want to become when I grow up. The latest and greatest Gator in the life of Kyle Schassburger is Brody Donay. And he started his career at Virginia Tech. And you know what? He grew up in Illinois, Lake Forest. Chicago Bears headquarters is in Lake Forest. I mean, we have more in common than Jack Caglianone and I had in common. I mean, Brody Donay might be the answer to my fulfillment on this planet.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to upset you for how you look like Brady Donay. You got to shave everything. Oh, that guy is as clean cut as can be.
Bro, don't let the face fool you. I'm already 3/4 of the way there, brother. Okay? We're Gucci. But yes, he looks like a future New York Yankee. I'll tell you
yes,
that.
He does.
He looks. I bet you.
Or a South Carolina Gamecock, because apparently they're making their guys shave too. Talmadge LeCroy getting rid of the beard.
Richard, were you watching Spank Trevision? I bet you she goes out with one of the Yankees.
Oh, no.
Who you got winning the Golden Spikes?
So I have a caveat. If
caveat.
Florida,
Is it caveat? I thought it was caveat, like caviar.
I've heard both, actually.
Okay. All right.
If FSU makes it to Omaha, Jamie Arnold with the Golden Spikes Award. And we haven't had a true, honest-to-goodness starter win the Golden Spikes Award since Trevor Bauer with UCLA in 2011. You did have A.J. Reed, but he was a two-way guy with Kentucky in 2014, infielder and pitcher.
What about Paul Skeens? Oh, Dylan Cruz won the.
Dylan Cruz won. It wasn't Skeens.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It wasn't Skeens. You did have Brendan McKay in 17 with Louisville, but he was a pitcher and a first baseman. You did have Kevin Kopps in 2021, but he was a reliever mainly. We have not had a true, honest-to-goodness, sole starting pitcher win the Golden Spikes since Trevor Bauer in 2011 with UCLA. He was the College Baseball National Player of the Year. Set the Pac-10 record for strikeouts, went 13-2 for UCLA that year when he won the Golden Spikes. So if FSU makes it, it will be because Jamie Arnold has an otherworldly season, and he will win the Golden Spikes Award. However, I don't have FSU going to Omaha, so I cannot pick Jamie Arnold because I didn't put them in my 8 for Omaha. So give me the man on a mission this year, Jace Lavalette at Texas A&M.
Wow. I wrote his name down first and was not happy with it. Mm-hmm. I thought it was not saying this is you, saying it's more me. Yeah. And trust me, this is more emblematic of who I am as a human being. I thought it was lazy of me to just put Jace down right away. Because again, he's an ogre. He's a big, menacing presence who can hit the ball a long way, who is extremely valuable in the field, who's extremely valuable in the locker room, okay? And can do it all. I worry about his strikeout rate and just him being able to continue to build upon each of his, what is it? He's a junior, right? Is this year 3 for Lavalette? Okay. Mm-hmm. In each of his previous 2 years. And I just felt too knee-jerk, but it was my gut instinctive reaction to think Jace. And then I started thinking more closely about the Aggies and Ryan Prager, who did put together consecutive opening day outings now, going back to last year for the Aggies. First time that's been done in 25 years, okay? Prager was great. Turned down $1.3 million from who? The Angels? To come back to school. Michael Early got all these guys to stay. Hayden Schott's even there, clubhouse guy. All these guys are going to uplift each other, and they're all going to be able to contribute. But is one guy going to really stand out amongst the rest? Whether it's Prager, Lavalette, Grahovac. I wrote all 3 of them down. There's Cade Curlin. There's Dean Curley. We haven't talked barely any about Tennessee, okay? Mm-hmm. If Albert Osuna would play, hell, I would throw him on, but we're still waiting on a court ruling. This whole Division II JUCO eligibility thing, I mean, it makes my head want to pop off like a crash dome.
Thanks, Diego Pavia.
Jesus. I wrote down Ethan Petrie. I mean, we just met with the kid for 30 minutes with Dylan Eskew.
And he made me want to run through a brick wall for South Carolina.
Absolutely.
I just want to put that out there. That guy is awesome.
Very hard not to put the Gamecocks and first-year head coach Paul Mainieri in Omaha. Very hard not to put them in Omaha. Man,
who, by the way, they swept Sacred Heart and beat the doors off of them on Ray Tanner Day. 14-0.
Again, South Carolina podcast takeover. Please go back 1 week in your podcast feed. YouTube, Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. There's video content, reels also. But, of course, wherever you get your podcast, College Sports Now is our audio podcast home. But subscribe to that channel, Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers, 3D Dingers on X, on Twitter. I wrote down Jared Jones. I had Jamie Arnold. I think I'm going to settle on Drew Burress.
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. 12 Triple Crown winner in Yellow Jackets history a year ago. As a freshman, hit 381, 25 bombs, 67 RBIs. had a walk-off grand slam this past weekend.
Yes, he
and
did.
I say Burris because, man, you pull up his player photo on the website, and he's got some icy cold chains and just the glamour around his name. He's like Tommy Tanks 2.0. I mean, this guy is ready to mash, bro. Dude, this guy looks like a total bro. I mean, Drew Burris.
You're not worried about him hitting 182 this weekend?
No, not at all.
Okay, just making sure. He did have the walk-off granny. I saw it, and it was gorgeous.
No. Come on, man. I don't care about 182.
Just making sure you're not overreacting.
I am overreacting. That's what I do. I'm being hypocritical, okay? I speak out of both sides of my mouth. I am being prisoner of the moment because I just like the ceiling. It's limitless for one Drew Burris. I don't know what kind of team Georgia Tech has, okay? There's too many teams for me to know enough about right now at this moment. But over time, okay, I like the path that Burris is going to chart in year 2. I mean, the accolades are endless. He's a dude. And I'm thinking outside the box, Con. Like I said, I could have knee-jerk instinctively picked all these other names. But give me Drew Burris, icy cold, Burris bombs. We got to get him on the show, man.
We do. He was actually my number 3 pick for the Golden Spikes. Behind Lavalette, Jamie Arnold, Drew Burris was my 3rd choice if I decided to go away from Lavalette.
Yeah. He puts the D in Dinger. I know that much. All right, let's step
Dumbbells.
aside.
He's jacked.
Yeah, he is. He's a big boy. Let's step aside one more time. We'll come back. Final segment. Clean up with dudes, hat tips. I want to empty the notebook. Life after Mitch Hannes at Indiana State seems to be going okay. Maybe a little bumpy day 1, but to conclude the weekend against Wagner, things certainly picked up. Maryland Eastern Shore looking to end a 54. 53. Now it's 54. They continue to lose. And then we'll look ahead to the midweek. Imagine that. I'm sorry, Danny Acosta. At one point, you're going to win a ball game. What are they? The Riverhawks?
I have a prediction. I have a prediction for when. I'll tell you when after the break.
All right. Tell me about that when we return. We'll be back in a moment here in 3D.
Which schools will take home the prestigious Learfield Directors Cup as the top college athletic programs for the 2024-25 college athletic season? You can follow the standings of your favorite team or alma mater at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at thedirectorscup.com. Trophies will be awarded in June 2025 to the winning institutions in all college sports divisions. Learfield Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics.
Hear live out-of-market play-by-play this year with the Varsity Network app. In a truly unique listening experience, capture every moment and all of the drama. Powered by Learfield, the Varsity app delivers the soundtrack of your favorite teams. Access live and on-demand audio broadcasts, plus over 100 official school podcasts for free through the Varsity app. Download the Varsity Network app today.
Couple bonkers box scores that I want to talk about. Let's start in Gastonia, North Carolina. So after Indiana State dropped the opener to Wagner 3-2, went on to win the doubleheader, game 2, 16-6, and then Sunday, no baseball on Saturday, 36-6, Con. Now the new head coach is Tracy Archuleta, who came over from Southern Indiana. Mitch Hannes took the job at USF. Have you looked deeply at this box score? I'm going to rattle off my takeaways. I knew I can count on you. 20-run third inning with 11 hits, sent 24 to the plate. I had to go through and count every. So I had 24. I don't know if you counted.
That's what I got.
And that's with a leadoff strikeout. The first guy struck out. There was 1 out in the inning. Okay, 10-run fifth inning. They had 5 players with at least 4 RBIs. 36 runs Sunday on 29 hits. They left 15 on base. I mean, there was more out there. 4 different Sycamores homered. And this was if you're curious about the record, Nebraska has the record. 1999? Yeah, 1999 when Nebraska beat Chicago. Did I get the year wrong? Or are you jumping the gun?
No. You got it.
Okay, I thought I read the year wrong again. I thought I'm getting the third digit. Like, was it 1909? Was it 1929? Was it? I don't know. 50-3, they beat Chicago State. So that's their all-time record. 50 runs scored. So things look to be going swimmingly, even after a series opening loss to Wagner, David.
Yeah, they do, and you got to rope in there Jorge Cartagena with 2 for 4 with a 5 RBI day.
Excuse me? Bless you?
You mentioned all the guys with 4 or more, but you didn't mention the guy who had a 5 spot, and Jeremy Martinez with a 5 spot on the day. The catcher, 4 for 6 with 4 runs scored as well. It was just an overall offensive slaughter by Indiana State. 4 home runs. They scored 36 runs on 29 hits. They had 12 walks. Wagner made 5 errors. This game had everything, and it only took 3 hours and 39 minutes, which is incredible because there was another game that we're going to talk about in a minute with Rhode Island and William & Mary that took 4:31 to finish, and it was even more bonkers score.
Well, I'm ready to talk about it. I didn't have the time on that one, but Rhode Island won because of a mercy. If we didn't have a 7-inning cap on this one, 36-22 the final, Rhodey beats William & Mary on Sunday. This game could have been 60-50.
They could have broken the run record.
Oh my God!
And it's the only reason we had the inning cap was because it was a getaway day. We wouldn't have had it. It's not conference play.
Oh man, did you look? I didn't look any more closely at that box.
Oh yeah. I got this one. So William & Mary had a 14-6 lead after 2 innings, and then Rhode Island scored 26 unanswered runs. 26. To take a 34-14 lead in the top of the 5th, including a 17-run 5th inning. 17 runs in the 5th. Rhode Island hit 7 homers, 2 by Adonis Medina. DJ Perrone had 7 RBIs. Again, it was a 36-22 final. The game only went 7 innings and took 4 hours and 31 minutes in front of 250 very faithful fans that watched this game. Oh my goodness. What a rough day for the Tribe.
You know who's been on the receiving end of plenty of those beatdowns over the last couple of years? Maryland Eastern Shore. Okay? They were so close to ending the 53-game winning streak. Now, they've been closer at times. They have. However, opening weekend, to have a lead in the 6th inning, they were up 6-5 against VMI on Sunday after already getting their asses handed to them the first couple of games. Up 6-5 Sunday. Danny Acosta, who became the head coach a year ago, bless him, because there was no chemistry, no camaraderie, the upheaval of that program, the guys that he inherited, trying to get them to buy in a year ago, just didn't. 0-48, okay? 0-30. That was last season. A losing streak that started May 20th of 2023. They come into Sunday's game ahead 6-5 in the 6th inning over VMI, having lost 53 straight games in a row. Up 6-5, they lose 14-8. That's now 54 straight losses. Now they've got 3 games with Towson this weekend. This is going to be part of the show moving forward. And I wonder if this is where your bold prediction, declaration for the Hawks comes in. Will it end against Towson? Because we're on Maryland Eastern Shore watch from here on out, waiting for this 54-game and counting losing streak to come to an end.
So they have not won a game in 640 days as we record today. That is the number, 640 days. It has been since May 20th, 2023, when they polished off a series win over Delaware State with an 18-4 victory on the final day of the regular season in 2023. They play 3 against Towson. Then they have their home opener in the midweek against Mount St. Mary's. Then they go to Bethune-Cookman for 3 games. My prediction is by the end of the Bethune-Cookman series, they will have a win. I'm not picking a specific series. I'm saying within the next 3 opponents that they face, Towson, Mount St. Mary's, and Bethune-Cookman, by God, the Hawks will have a digit in that win category. It'll happen. I'm telling you right now, by March 3rd, UMES watch, over. They'll have a win.
You think it's going to happen? It's going to happen in the next 3 weeks. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well,
2 weeks. Not even 3. 2 weeks.
Okay.
Next 2 weeks.
All right. Well,
what do you think?
No, I think it keeps going. I think it keeps going.
You think they go 0 for again?
No, they're not going to go 0 for. Give it until...
That'd be impossible.
Give it until April, man. They'll find a way in league play.
All right.
He'll find a way in league play. Walter Vila for D1 Baseball had a great piece about this, the anguish of the 0-48 season. I read through this a week ago. I'm trying to skim through it now for some of the high points. They have put together actually a decent class incoming. A lot of newcomers, a lot of JUCO transfers that you can imagine. There wasn't a lot of time to retool that roster a year ago when Acosta had gotten hired. And many of the players were pissed off. It was Acosta that was hired and the other guy wasn't retained or wasn't somebody else. Either way, Acosta comes in with a bullseye on his back from the players inside his program, and it was just something they couldn't overcome. And he talked about just how not fun and how depressing it was every single day, basically going to the ballpark, admitting that guys weren't locked in mentally. They just folded under pressure. To quote him in the Vila story, from the jump, I could tell things weren't right player-wise. Team chemistry wasn't the best. It was frustrating. That's from catcher Bronson Taylor in the Vila story. So, what this team has had to navigate and try to overcome, because they haven't done it quite yet. But, if you can just be more competitive and not get the doors blown off you, the 54-year-old Danny Acosta, I think he's going to be able to find the win to end this losing streak. And they've got a draft-eligible guy who potentially, could play at the next level. I think he's one of their pitchers. I'm trying to find it now. But it's hard not to root for this team. That's what I'm getting at.
How can you not? How can you not root for a team to finally get this huge monkey off their back? I mean, it's kind of incredible to root for the 0-1 season last year, like we were doing when they eventually go 0-48. But now it's just you have to root for them to win a game. You completely flip the table and say, like, all right, we are all going to be popping champagne when UMES finally wins a baseball game.
Absolutely. Acosta coached or was a scout for the Rangers, Twins, Mariners, Cubs, and Giants. He actually tutored Javi Baez, one of my favorites, who helped reverse the curse in Chicago in 2016 for my Cubbies. So Stepner is the pitcher. He throws 93, 94. He's their top draft prospect. So even a team that has won 54 games in a row has a guy who's going to be, there's still a lot of rounds. I know COVID got rid of some, but there's a lot of potential, a lot of upside. You'll get found. And if you can throw 93, 94, you're certainly going to be on somebody's big board. So he's from a JUCO in Florida, and then they got a Diego Aponte, lefty hitting first baseman from Puerto Rico. So I got a couple of dudes. They're going to win. I just don't know if in the next couple of weeks.
Let's play this game. Take a look at Stepner's headshot and what profession would he have?
Oh, yes. Stepner, Maryland, Eastern.
We're bringing this game back. For those who are new to the program, we have done this for the past 3 years or so, where we've randomly talked about a player, and out of nowhere, I will say headshot, and Shass has to go pull up the headshot and figure out what his headshot makes him look like he's going to be doing if he wasn't playing baseball. Go ahead, Shass.
I think he could work a nail gun pretty well. He looks like he could handle some construction and carpentry work. At the same time, he might be an over-the-counter salesman of those beer dispensing helmets. I'm getting some hardcore Happy Gilmore vibes, and I'm talking about Mr. Larson. Out of this magnificent man who is 6'4", 205, the righty out of San Diego and Patrick Henry High School. God bless. Southwestern College JUCO transfer who can hit 93, 94, apparently. So, yes, this man has a future in construction if Major League Baseball, at least, those organizations and their lower feeder levels don't provide for him. That's for sure. Okay, what about Merrick Houston, man? You didn't get a chance to see Wake this weekend. Bummer.
I didn't, but I'm going to see him tonight. They're at UNCG, so I'm calling that one on the ESPN Plus side of things.
Neither of you put him on our Golden Spikes Award watch list. Well, maybe he's on our list, but
he's on the list. He's also the Golden Spikes Player of the Week after Week 1 with the week he had. He went 10 for 14. That's a 7-14 clip, 3 homers, 11 runs driven in, 13 RBIs, a 2.503 OPS, only 1 strikeout, 5 walks. Remember we had the Wake Forest Takeover podcast a couple years ago, and Bill Salento was just praising how good of a defensive player he was, and Merrick Houston himself admittedly was like, I need to work on my hitting. Well, hitting's been worked on, all right? Merrick Houston absolutely raked this weekend for Wake Forest, and the Deeks just ran through LIU and Marist, 4-game sweep for them that was affected by weather. But now they have to go to Greensboro and play UNCG, which you remember last year, Shass. Same situation, first midweek after the opening weekend when they swept their season round robin that they always do. They went to UNCG as the #1 team in the country, and they lost 4-3. So we'll see what happens tonight against a UNCG ball club that is predicted to win the SoCon again.
I'm ready to empty the notebook before we look ahead to midweek notables and the weekend, then get the hell out of here. This has been some show. We're at 110. This is beautiful. It's good to be back. Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. I did see, and we'll sprinkle in some social displays of affection, hat tips and dudes here on the way out. Did you see with Arizona State, we talked about Tracy Smith being the former coach of the Sun Devils. Did you see how they won against Ohio State on Friday? There was a game-ending double play, and the umpires actually had to come up into the press box to review it. Did you see that?
No.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. I thought that was amazing. The umps actually came into the press box to review the play as Arizona State had beaten Ohio State on the weekend. Houston mentioned Noah Sheffield, Gary Sheffield's kid, who homered for Florida State. Not in the same game where Jamie Arnold took his first career start. Arnold shoved 6 innings, 1 hit, 8 Ks, no walks, no runs. That was your Golden Spikes pick, right, David?
Jace
Jamie Arnold?
Lavalette.
Oh, you went Lavalette. That's
it
right.
was Jamie Arnold if FSU makes it to Omaha.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
That was the caveat.
Yes.
Caveat.
There you go. There you go.
Caveat.
Nailed it.
Houston has a former big leaguer's son also. Karsten Sabathia hit a monster bomb against Minnesota this past weekend. The Sam Tackett home run for Virginia Tech might still not have landed. That was in a 13-0 ball game, too, already. And this dude hit one, I think they measured at 499. I don't know how you measure that.
Virginia Tech says 500.
Okay, they did say 500.
Yeah, Virginia Tech's flight tracker that they tweeted out says 500. I have seen 499 elsewhere.
Who is the pitcher that gave up this home run in a 13-0 game where the ball is hit 500 feet? That's what I need.
You figure that out because that transitions into our dudes because Sam Tackett is my dude. Apologies, Mr. Tackett, for hitting that 500-foot tank job for Virginia Tech. 26-degree launch angle, 114 miles per hour exit velo for Mr. Sam Tackett, who actually ended up having a 3-home-run weekend. Hokies win the series, 62 runs scored in 3 games for Virginia Tech as they win the series. And Sam Tackett, the dude of the week, part 1. Part 2 for me, actually, my other dude of the week, we're going to reference the big boy, Brian Curley, who I sent you this video. I don't know if you watched it. It's in your X DMs. Brian Curley on Georgia. The guy throws a hundo with a pause in his delivery.
Yeah, he's got a big old hitch. Yeah.
Yes, he gets halfway through his delivery and stops and then hurdles it right by you at 100 miles per hour. So he gets a dude of the week. #Gains.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm trying to find the play-by-play of this. Damn it. Speaking of Georgia, Robbie Burnett reached base in his first 10 plate appearances for the Bulldogs.
Wow.
The weekend. That's pretty
Missed
impressive.
that. All right. That's awesome.
Yeah, Joe Healy had a write-up on D1 on that. So that was pretty cool. I'm glad I teed you up on Tackett because I'm jumping ahead on the dock. I'll give you the dude. For me, it's Ryan Wynn of Wofford.
Oh, yeah.
Third Terrier cycle all time, first since 2013. He was on that team that picked up a win in the Chapel Hill Regional, did they not? A year ago. He didn't play a lot. He played sparingly. I think he appeared in like 9 games.
Wofford, yeah, they knocked out LIU.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wynn went single, triple, double, first of 2 home runs in 4 consecutive plate appearances. So in his first 4 at-bats, he hits for the cycle. He adds another home run. Not 1, but 2 dongs that are each the first 2 of his entire career. I mean, amen for Ryan Wynn. A couple of dingers, first 2 in his career as part of a day where he hits for the cycle in a 13-12 win over Ohio on Sunday. You can give a hat tip to him, but I'm going to give it to not the Tulane Mardi Gras uniforms. I mean, those are the most god-awful, vomit-inducing uniforms that I've seen in my life.
That's just absolute heinousness by you. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. That they are clean as ever, and you should be smited for even referencing that. By the way, Sam Tackett hit 2 home runs on Sunday. One was off Ben McGovern, the other was off Bryce Mitchell. Just to
Ben McGovern, Bucknell, and who was the other one? I got to look
Bryce Mitchell.
I got to get a look at each of these dudes.
Bren McGovern and Bryce Mitchell. But yeah, that's a heinous take by you. Those Mardi Gras unis are clean. I want one. If anyone wants to buy me a gift right now for any godforsaken reason, you probably don't have one. But if you do, get me one of those. They're up sale for auction. Go to Campus Connections Twitter or X or whatever you call it these days. I really, really want one. They're really cool. And Shass is just so beyond wrong.
It looks like they should be working the ice cream truck. I mean, what is going on? And look, I'm as big a fan of Mardi Gras as anyone. Apparently, the voice of the Green Wave, Corey Glora, was supposed to send us a king cake. It was supposed to be for Cabell and I. I never saw it. So I think it showed up at the office and somebody else ate it, but I never got my slice. So I am pretty upset over this. That's
unfortunate. King cake is amazing, and I really want some right now. And I'm going to get some this weekend when I go to my friend's Mardi Gras party in Richmond. So I'm excited about that. By the way, shout out to the Tulane Green Wave. 10 or more runs in each of their first 3 games to open a season for the first time since 1986. So just going to slip that little nugget in there.
Bryce Mitchell and Ben McGovern each need a tanny bed. That's all I'll say.
Pasty white?
Yeah, a little pasty white.
Okay. My hat tip is going to go to someone by the name we're going to go back to Nebraska, actually. Tucker Timmerman is going to get my hat tip. I don't know if you saw this. He took a 104-mile-per-hour comebacker right off the schnoz, right there, when he was on the mound.
I did see this, yes.
And he crumbled to the ground, as anyone would. I would be dead. But he crumbled to the ground. Then he gets up under his own power and then fires up the crowd by just going like this and pumping his fist while he's bleeding profusely. But this dude is just absolutely hammering the crowd home. So a hat tip to that guy for taking one off the schnoz and still having the wherewithal to get that crowd fired up in a big game against Vanderbilt.
As I point over my right shoulder, that, my friend, is stimulating. It looked like his lip was dislodged from horizontal to vertical. It was going up and down in the same direction with his nose, but really it was just where it was split open, I believe, or it was just pulsating. I mean, the images are disgusting, revolting, but heroic at the same time. I mean, amazing stuff. I mean, that dude is going to need some cosmetic surgery. That's
he will need some cosmetic surgery, but I love the grit, the absolute full man mentality that I know also subscribe to, Kyle Schassburger. So I feel like he's a man after your own heart.
Hey, if it takes getting pelted by a comebacker off your face to be able to obtain a little cosmetic workup, to the facial exterior, I'm all for it, man. I mean, I might just go stand in front of a bus after this, see what happens.
But you might throw your Focusrite in front of a bus if it continues to mute you.
I will. This all gives us great perspective on life, and nothing was better than the Clemson baseball account over the weekend at Clemson Baseball. They had an honorary captain, head of the event at Globe Life, Eli, young kid, couldn't have been older than Pudge, maybe 8-9 years old. Part of the team 128, as Backage said. Now he's missing an arm. He's only got one arm. Young kid. Don't know the particulars, don't know the specifics. He's in the team room. I'm assuming this is right before that first game. Although Backage was in uniform, so it could have been kind of an intra-squad earlier in the week. But it was awesome stuff. They had young Eli come. They gave him a ball glove, gave him a baseball glove, said he's a part of Team 128. And then he got to break down the team. They all put their hand in, and he gave a few words of encouragement, said, go play hard and kick butt, and broke the locker room huddle. Awesome stuff from the little man Eli, part of Team 128 for Clemson. That is a social display of affection at its finest.
That is a literal social display of affection. That's awesome. Way to absolutely play that to the letter of the law, Shass. You took one of mine earlier.
Yeah, sorry.
Air Force parachute team parachuting in to Gainesville this weekend. I was going to do that exactly the way you said it. Gainesville. Exactly. Yeah, see, I knew that was coming. So that was one, though. I had another one, though, because I had a feeling you were going to snipe me like you did. The Hunter Ensley documentary that Tennessee put out right before the start of the season, where it's just called Hunter. And it is a total look into the mind, the inner workings, the baseball pedigree, the off-the-field antics of Hunter Ensley. It's got Tony Vitello. It's got John Wilkerson. It's got Hunter. It's got his family. It's got everybody. They just premiered the first episode this past weekend, and it's awesome. It is so cool. And the trailer that Tennessee put out a week before the season started was my social display of affection for opening weekend because it was incredible. I got absolutely, I was bone chilling watching that thing. I can't wait to watch it. So that's my SDA for you from Tennessee's Hunter Ensley doc.
Yeah, it's got all the vibes of a banger. I'll get to that after I complete the documentary series on Peacock on the Cock with Notre Dame all in, because they have the season finale that came out post-national championship game. I'm just a little worried of taking that in after the loss against Ohio State. It was so good. It was riveting for the first 5 or 6 episodes. I forget. I was locked in. I mean, I was ready to run through a wall after watching that, the diehard Notre Dame football fan that I am. But then after the loss, it's kind of lost its luster for me to, I've got it in the hopper. I'm not ready to watch it because I don't want to cry again. In the worst of ways, and be reminded of what had happened. It still blows my mind that they played for the national championship. Like, I felt like that was a dream. When it's your team, I haven't had a lot of that. I mean, there are yes. Well, and I have. I mean, the Blackhawks won 3 cups in 6 years. And the first in 2010 was the height of my college career in 2010, where everybody was operating to the beat of the Blackhawks and where the game is and where's the watch party and what bar are we going to and having people over. And Pi Kappa Shass was percolating. In every way, okay? In every way. Chicago became a hockey town, okay? And then you had the Cubs in 16, but I was here in North Carolina, and I felt so detached. But still, it was curing and exercising all the demons in my life for so long. But the Bears haven't won a title since 85. The Bulls have fallen below the depths of mediocrity. It's been hard. And, college baseball, I support the sport. Sure, there's a few teams I like here and there, but I just hope everybody has fun. But yeah, to see Notre Dame after not winning a major bowl game in 31 years and doing that and beating not just Georgia, but then Penn State and then going toe to toe with Ohio State and having a masterful 10-minute drive. Riley Leonard, thank you very much. It was one of the finest moments in my 36 years of being a fan. And then it all, the bottom fell out. But either way, I digress. Did you watch White Lotus premiere?
Yes. I did watch it. I actually forgot that it was premiering, and then I saw a trailer for it when I was watching something else, and I looked at my phone, and I was like, holy shit, it's past 9 o'clock on Sunday. And I stopped what I was doing, put everything else down, put my phone away, and just injected White Lotus into my veins for season 3 from Thailand. I actually thought it was a really solid premiere episode. I think there's a lot of different ways this one could go. It seems different from the first 2 seasons in the fact that we don't really have a lot of storyline built up yet. Like, there's just a lot of question marks right now with the opening episode, but I'm so excited to watch more. I really want to see how those 3 blondes just absolutely tear off at each other, because one of them we can tell already hates the other 2, and there's going to be some sort of conflict with the other 2, and one of those sons is definitely going to try and bang one of those girls, and it's going to be a whole shit show.
All righty then. Yeah, the thing with White Lotus, that's kind of its MO, to leave you asking so many questions afterwards. So very bizarre, and I thought the season 3 debut episode on Sunday on Max certainly delivered in that regard. So yeah, you got a lot of independent groups and storylines, and you look forward to seeing how things matriculate forward and all come together. And yeah, it's a very eerie satire-like drama show that is bonkers. Hard to grab your head around that time. So yeah, thank you for spoiling it for everyone, Kahn. Thank you. I just asked if you watched, and then you're giving all these details.
I didn't spoil shit. I said what I think's gonna happen.
Yeah, you're talking about 3 smoke shows, and then talking about animal-like activity amongst. Okay,
that's all in the trailer.
All right. Well, anyway, we were talking viewing. I thought I'd ask you about it. You reminded me last week. And then you forgot on Sunday. I planned my whole day Sunday around it. I mean, I was talking about Sunday. I rolled out of bed and I said, it's White Lotus Day. Let's get weird.
Sunday, I rolled out of bed. I was hungover. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing the whole day. Man. It is my fault. And I was like, it was my fault. It's fine. We recovered quickly. We went to the gym. We got over it. It was fine. And then I was laying in bed Sunday night and I was like, holy crap. White Lotus is on. What am I doing? Flipped it on immediately and just watched for an hour of pure joy. It was amazing.
Yeah. You also put in the doc, did I watch any part of NBA All-Star Weekend Daytona 500? Absolutely not. So that was
what a waste.
That was a big no. I will be trying to catch some of these games though coming up in the midweek. I got to get to the gym myself, man. So let's run through these. These are my midweek notables. Actually, I'm not going to look at the doc because I think you did all of that. I'm going to read what I wrote down, and then you can add in whatever you want. So on Tuesday, Mississippi State at Southern Miss. They're going to be climbing out of the trees, okay, in the right field roost. I mean, you talk about left field lounge, right field roost coming together in Hattiesburg at that venue. 2 in-state teams, one respecting the other's tradition and power, the other respecting the other's tradition and power and fan investment. It's going to be glorious. I think that is the game of the night. I ran a game for John Cox on Sunday for Southern Miss, and he talked for 9 innings in between breaks. And even while on the air during a 4-game sweep of Lafayette. By the way, that Southern Miss team might make it to Omaha. It was hard for me to keep them out of the field. Just about the excitement and anticipation, though, for Southern Miss and welcoming Mississippi State on Tuesday night. Troy goes to Auburn. Shane Lewis is back, baby. That's my comeback player of the year. He only had 5 bombs last season. That after 27 home runs. In 2023, he had 3 over the weekend. A one-time Mississippi State Bulldog himself. That's my comeback player of the year, Shane Lewis. Give it to me. So he's going to visit the Plains, Troy and Auburn. Houston at Texas. Florida State at USF. Georgia Tech goes to Georgia Southern. Oklahoma State and Texas State at Globe Life. And then Wednesday, you got K-State playing North Carolina. Oregon State at Houston. Part of the preliminary festivities to Round Rock on the weekend. Did I miss anything in the midweek?
Just one. Well, we already mentioned Wake Forest at UNCG. I threw that on there because of what happened last year. We'll see if Wake can avenge that loss in Greensboro. Overall, they're 20-8 all time in Greensboro, so I don't think it'll be much of an issue. We'll see. Duke versus UNC Wilmington. I think that's a game we need to watch too. See how Duke rebounds after dropping 6 spots in the top 25, taking on the Seahawks, who were in the regionals last year.
Okay, of these 3 events coming up this weekend, again, I'm not looking at the doc, so you help close the loop on anything I miss. I've got 3 tabs open for each of these schedules, so let's see if I get this right. You got the College Baseball Showdown. Well, technically, that was this past week. They changed the branding. College Baseball Series.
Weekend.
Yeah, this is the series. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Globe Life. You get 3 straight weekends of Globe Life Park baseball. This thing has grown so much over the last few years. You've got TCU and Michigan on Friday, K-State and Arkansas on Friday night. 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock are those 2 starts. Those are your 4 teams part of the weekend, just the 4. TCU, Michigan, K-State, and Arkansas. They're all going to play each other. Some high-level baseball on tap again from Arlington. Looking forward to that.
Rematch of the Fayetteville Regional. K-State knocked out Arkansas last year.
Yes. But here's another one. Sprinkle in, and we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but it's on the schedule page. Next Wednesday, you're going to have another one in Arlington, LSU and DBU. That's spectacular. Okay, now I'm going to bounce over to Round Rock. We've got 4 teams in Round Rock. We've got Oklahoma and Minnesota, who will open up festivities on Friday at 2 Central, I'm guessing it is. And then Oregon State and Virginia will be after at 6. So your 4 are OU, Minnesota, Oregon State, and Virginia. Those 4 teams will play each other over 3 days. And then the last event, if you will, multi-team event, if we want to use the basketball conversation, because they're not necessarily tournaments because you're not playing everyone. It's an MTE, just like how we treat the basketball.
That's what MTE stands for. I never knew it was multi-team event.
Multi-team event. Come on,
I thought it was something to do with Thanksgiving.
No.
I didn't know that.
Wrong. You lose. Friday, Ohio State, NC State at 2. This is in Jacksonville. Okay, this is the Jacks College Baseball Classic. I want to wax on that Jacks. Ohio State, NC State, Alabama, Coastal. Those are your 4 teams.
Yep.
So that's your lineup on Friday, and then they'll play over Saturday and Sunday. I think those are the main MTEs, right? Those are the 3 I got all those covered. Okay.
Those are the 3, and then you've got the epic North Carolina, East Carolina series this weekend as well.
I got that.
1 game at ECU, 1 game in Durham, 1 game in Chapel Thrill. Let's go. Ready for it.
Next weekend will be the Clemson, South Carolina.
Yes.
Similar show. Okay,
yes.
Go through the – I got – let me empty my clip. Nebraska at Louisiana. Missouri State at Mississippi State. These are 3-game weekend sets. Louisiana Tech at Southern Miss. Let's channel some old CUSA vibes right there. UCI, we talked about the Anteaters, top of the program. They go to Lubbock, take on Texas Tech. How do the Red Raiders respond after getting swept by North Carolina? That's all I got.
No, I only left with those 3 MTEs.
Yes.
And the North Carolina, East Carolina, because we have so much going on right now. I don't have the bandwidth to focus on all the college baseball that's going on right now. We do as much as we can, but until we get past March Madness, I can only focus on so much. So that's why I limited the series to those 3 MTEs and the epic North Carolina, East Carolina series that always delivers. So that's all I got on that for games coming up. We have enough to watch.
Yeah, good luck playing on a show next week because this was the Super Bowl. It's all downhill from here. There's a lot of content opening weekend. And look, man, the excitement, there's a lot to talk about. But, we're only going to become more busy over the next couple of weeks here with basketball going on adjacent to college baseball. But we're here for you every Tuesday, we promise. In some fashion, we will bring our comedic takes, the intelligent swagger that exudes from the pores of one David Kahn, and the meat-headed approach that yours truly, Kyle Schassburger, will bring to everything in life. We should give you a Rentaro Sasaki update before we sign off. 389, 7 of 18, 8 RBIs, and 2 walks. Stanford went 4-0 this past weekend, so good for them on the farm.
Cool. We're done with that. Okay, move on.
Okay.
Is the all Shass squad returning in 2025?
I don't know.
You had a pretty loaded squad last year, I will say.
Yeah, I think it'll return. I want to let it cook a little bit the season before I start, becoming
I'm not asking for a
too
player right now.
Yeah.
No, not yet. I think you need some time to let it fester.
Yeah, the All Shass squad will return. If you have any suggestions or submissions, at Kyle Shass, at 3D Dingers on Twitter, on X. Make sure you subscribe to at Dugouts, Dumbbells, Dingers on YouTube as well. Subscribe, please. This is how we are judged. This is how we are graded. We're trying to build something from scratch organically. We're trying to prove to those high atop the food chain, okay, that we are worth a damn. Help us. Help us be worthy of life, of this air that we consume, that you consume every single day that you awake from your slumber and step outside your door. It is air that I am deprived of because I am not giving the acceptance and acknowledgement and pat on the back that I need to be able to breathe wholly and fully, stimulating.
That's all I got. See you later.